Her perfume scent at the door, I was typically met with a cloying blend of jasmine and something violently synthetic. She used it to announce her arrival, much like a queen returning to her castle, but there was a distinct tension in the air tonight. Buzz that made the hairs on my neck stand on end. She stood there bathed in the golden light of the hallway, her eyes unnaturally bright, a manic grin blasted across her face. In her hand she clutched a single sheet of paper held up like a trophy. "Look," she exclaimed, her voice a little too high, a little too enthusiastic. "I got it, I finally got it." I stepped inside, placing my briefcase down. I'd had a long day and the office's fluorescent lights had left my head throbbing. I managed to smile, forcing the weariness from my face. "Got what, honey?" She thrust the paper forward, practically shoving it into my chest. It was an official-looking letter, the company's logo emblazoned at the top, the words "Ocean" in bold. I skimmed it, and not forming in my stomach. I knew she'd been gunning for this promotion for months, had spent countless nights working late, had missed dinners and family events in pursuit of it. I should have been happy for her, right to be happy for her. "Oh, Brittany, that's amazing," I said, my voice laced with an effortful warmth. I wasn't stupid. I knew that this promotion meant more than just a step up in her career. It meant more money, more status, more time away from me. My stomach, they finally saw how hard I've been working, and she practically vibrated with excitement as I pushed back the rising tide of honors. I'd be the good husband and supportive partner, and they saw my potential. She paced the living room, her heels clicking against the wooden floor, the sound grating against my already frayed nerves. She had been acting different lately, almost glowing, but not in the way I remembered. It was a feverish glow, like a fire burning, a little too hot, a little too bright. I told myself it was just her excitement about the promotion, but a persistent voice in the back of my mind whispered that if she didn't, I would reach for the letter again and pretend to read it. "So what exactly does this entail? More responsibilities?" She paused, her eyes darting away from mine to look at some very important people. I presume she stopped pacing and her eyes gleaming. "But it's much more than that. It's a project manager position leading a whole new team I'll be working directly with." I nodded, but I couldn't get rid of the uneasy sense that something wasn't quite right. My eyes shifted to the small block of text at the bottom of the page that had the company's contact information. My breath caught. "Brittany," I looked at the date as my voice abruptly became emotionless and flat. She dismissed my worries and soft. "What's the big deal?" "It's the day they announced the promotion." My ribs pounded against my heart. I indicated the date. My finger was shaking a little. This letter was dated June 12th, and today is October 15th. The air in the room seemed to thicken, the smile on her face, and her eyes widened with a dawning horror. She stumbled back a step, her hand flying to her mouth, and the letter slipped from her grasp and flitted to the floor like a fallen leaf. "What are you talking about?" she stammered, her voice barely a whisper, her face devoid of color. "The letter is 4 months old. Why are you only showing it to me now? Why didn't you tell me about it months ago? Why didn't we celebrate months ago? This isn't a promotion. Brittany, this is untrue." Her meticulously crafted facade fell apart. The smug, self-satisfied grin she had worn minutes before her mouth started to speak, to attempt to explain, but no words came out. Panic flashed across her face. I knelt down, picked up the letter, and held it up so she could see it. For the past 4 months, Brittany has been playing me and acting as though she worked hard for this promotion, but in reality, she had it all along. What does that mean? She retreated even more, her eyes darting around as though seeking an escape, "Which I can explain," and she whispered in a trembling voice. I sprang to my feet, feeling angry and a knot form in my breast. "Could you please explain how you were able to deceive me for 4 months? What about the late nights, the silent phone conversations, and the new clothes?" My voice became louder, each syllable piercing the silence. "And you explained why I feel like I don't know the lady I've been married to for 8 years. Like a shard of glass, you've been avoiding me in order to gain this promotion, and you've been lying to me every day and every night." At last, she found her voice. From the bottom of her throat, she made a fervent request. "No, it's not what you think. You don't understand." "Oh, I think I understand perfectly. Brittany, you're lying to me and are a horrible liar. The evidence is on this paper." I went to the fireplace and put the letter on the mantelpiece after you were caught and are now frantically trying to find a way out. Holding it down with a little ornament, I stood back and looked at the letter before turning to face Brittany, who was trembling all over. "It's terrible to see you fall apart. You must have been planning and plotting for 4 months, and you made a simple mistake by bringing that letter home." Why did her face crumple with tears? She took a step forward and reached for me, welling in her eyes. Would you kindly just listen to me? I suppressed the disgust I felt for her, which was rising in my throat. I don't want to hear it, Brittany. You betrayed my trust, and I don't think I can ever forgive you for it. For a while, I didn't think I could forgive you for that, but you showed me how correct I was when you brought me this paper. Then, the phone rang, and the shrill sound cut through the tense air. Brittany just stood there without moving. Her eyes were wide with horror as she stared at me, frozen, and I couldn't quite place it. I walked past her and picked up the phone from the counter. Hello, this is Mr. Thompson from Human Resources. Is this Mr. Harrison? We need to let you know that your wife, Brittany Harrison, has been fired from her job due to a violation of company policy. I looked at her mouth, and she was shocked to hear that she had been using company resources for her own personal gain. We have proof that she had been falsifying documents, and we have proof that she had a relationship with one of the company's managers. It is a very serious matter, and I gave the HR representative the appropriate response, keeping a calm and professional demeanor to conceal the satisfaction that was building inside of me. I understand, thank you for the update. I put the phone back on the counter and hung up. I turned to face her, and my expression was cold and unyielding. It seems like your little plan has failed, and they know about everything, all the lies, all the secrets, and the time you've spent doing whatever it is you've been doing for the past 4 months. At last, the tears started to fall, streaming down her face in silent, desperate rivulets. No, she whimpered, her voice barely audible, no, this can't be happening, this can't be real. I watched her, and my heart was surprisingly unmoved by her distress. The woman I had loved and trusted was gone, replaced by someone who was so seriously flawed and dishonest that she was a stranger to me. Now, this is real Brittany, and it's only getting started. I pulled out my phone, turned it on, and pointed the camera at her. She started to object, her voice shaking. No, what are you doing? She buried her face in her hands and sobbed uncontrollably, saying, I wanted the best for us. I moved closer, my eyes meeting hers, and she said, you wanted more. Is that why you lied to me? Is that why you cheated on me? You wanted more money and more status because you wanted more. I hope you're happy with what you've done, Brittany. I hope your promotion was worthwhile. I walked past her, picked up my briefcase, and was ready to move on with my life, the life I was choosing for myself, free from her lies and deceit, when I started filming her. Her face twisted in pain as her lies finally revealed her world collapsing around her. I started uploading the video to every social media account I had, tagging her name and the company she worked for.